Okay. It is time for an English lesson. Let's make sure that everything is working properly, and then we will get started. Hi, everybody. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. Just give me some time to make sure everything is working properly. It looks like it is. I see some familiar faces in the chat. Hi to Kakachen, Key Park, Hafiez. Starting in 15 seconds, everybody, on this lesson about phrasal verbs, part 1. Let's see here, 10 seconds. I better get ready. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about phrasal verbs. This is part 1 of at least 3 lessons, maybe 4. Hopefully you are ready to learn some common phrasal verbs in English. If you don't know what phrasal verbs are, it's when you have a verb and then it has like on or of or out at the end of it, and somehow you have to figure out what it means. There are a number of them in English, and it is important to learn them. You don't have to learn them so you can use them right away. But you do need to learn phrasal verbs when you're learning English, because you'll hear them all the time, or you'll read them when you're reading a book. They certainly are quite common. I might have even used a phrasal verb already while I was talking and not even realized it. I'll have to go back and check later to see if that is the case. But once again, welcome to part 1 of a series of English lessons about phrasal verbs. Hey, before we get started, I do want to say hi to Hafiez, Harlianti, Aua, Lolly Lolly, Kakachen, Patana, Key Park, Barra Vilson. Judith is here. Let me scroll back. Freddie Wolf. Let's see here. I'm going back a little ways to see Emna, Maxime, Judith, Kevin Hawthorne, and a lot of other familiar faces. Good to see all of you. Remember, this lesson is for you to learn some new English words and phrases. So don't forget to also practice your English in the chat. Having little conversations with each other is awesome. Massimo says, hello, Bob. I'm from Italy and have been watching your videos on YouTube, and I thank you. You are very welcome, Massimo. It has been fun making them, and I will keep making them for you. By the way, if you watched my short lesson on my other channel today, I think I threw out some promise like I'm going to do this for 7 more years. I don't know if you've noticed, but some YouTubers have been announcing that they're not doing YouTube anymore. I am going to keep doing YouTube, at least for 7 years. You know, I can't promise that because who knows, life can change, but that's my plan right now. 7 more years of YouTube. But anyways, if you have a question, please use the link that is in the description below. Don't ask it in the chat. And also in the chat, if you type !link, if you're a member, it will bring up a link to the forum so other people can ask it there. I gave an example there. You can see that there is a link to the forum. I wonder if there's questions already. Probably, yes. Anyways, anything else we need to do? I should double check to make sure things are working. Excellent. So again, at least 3 or 4 lessons on phrasal verbs. I'll try to cover the 100 most common phrasal verbs over 4 weeks. This is lesson 1. I think I have about 25 or 26 phrasal verbs to teach you. I think because this is the first lesson, you might be familiar with some of these. So use this as a bit of review. Let's get started. To hang up. So this has a couple of meanings. And I should mention that a lot of these phrasal verbs have several meanings. I'm going to try to only focus on the 1 or 2 most common meanings, but some do have more. You can see here in the far picture, someone washed their clothes. After you wash your clothes, it's important to hang up your clothes so they can dry. Maybe you have a dryer and you can just put them in the dryer, but Jen and I don't. So it's important for us to hang up our clothes so that they can dry after we wash them. So the act of putting them either on a clothesline or a drying rack. When you're using a phone, when you're done the conversation, when you push the red button, you push that to hang up. So it is a similar thing. to ending the phone call. So when you decide that the conversation's over, you decide to hang up. It's considered rude to hang up on someone in the middle of a conversation, though. Usually it's nice to finish the conversation and then say bye, and then both people hang up at the same time. So 2 meanings for that one: to put clothes on a clothesline or drying rack, or to end a conversation. To show up. So my mom lives in an old age home now, and sometimes I show up. Sometimes I go to visit my mom, and so I show up and I say, hey, can I come up and visit you? Because you have to, in the lobby, you have to push a button so that you can be let in. So sometimes I show up. So to show up can mean to arrive, to appear, to go somewhere. Sometimes, here's another good example. My brothers and sisters came to my house a couple of weeks ago, and we were waiting for them to show up. I told them, hey, show up anytime after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be ready for the Christmas party. And then around 3 o'clock, no one was there. And we were like, when will they show up? So in that situation, it means when will they arrive? To pull over. So if you're wondering, these lessons are always related to my life. That's usually where I get my ideas from. If you're driving a car on the road and you decide that you want to, maybe you need a break or you want to use your phone safely, it's important to pull over. It's important to slow down and go onto the side of the road. So when you're on the road and you go onto the side of the road and stop, we say pull over. You're going to pull over. There's another use of this word, though, and this is why there's a police car in the thumbnail. Someone was asking that earlier, because the police can pull you over. So the other day, I'm a little bit embarrassed. I was driving, and up ahead, I saw flashing red and blue lights, and I also saw a whole bunch of vehicles on a side road, and I realized I was speeding. And as I went by those vehicles, it was 3 unmarked police cars, and one pulled out, and I thought, oh, he's going to pull me over. So a police officer can also pull you over. So this is going to sound kind of funny. The police officer turned his lights on because he wanted to pull me over. So then I pulled over onto the side of the road. And did I get a ticket? I know, you let me know in the chat if you think I got a ticket. Say yes, I think Bob got a ticket, or no, I don't think he got a ticket when the police pulled me over. To double down. So when you double down, I taught this phrase on my short English channel a little while ago. It means to work harder at something. Maybe in December, you didn't really study English very much. Maybe you took a break, and then you have a test maybe in February. You might need to double down right now on the amount of studying you are doing. You might need to work harder and longer in order to get the studying done. At work, it's the last week of school next week, and I need to double down on getting student work graded. I got a lot graded this week, but I need to double down and get more graded because the semester is ending. So to double down means to work harder and to work better on something so that you get a lot done. To double up. So sometimes you want more of something. I eat about 3 or 4 vegetables a day, and I should really double up the amount of vegetables I'm eating. I should probably eat 6 to 8 vegetables a day. Now, I do eat 1 or 2 pieces of fruit a day. I don't want to double up on the amount of fruit, but I think I should double up on the amount of vegetables I'm eating. So to double, if you don't know, means to multiply by 2. So when you double up, it means you try to multiply by 2. Sometimes when you order pizza, you can order double cheese. Then there's twice as much cheese on it. You can double up on the amount of cheese. Then it's extra yummy. But to double up means to do something or to have something times 2, like multiply it by 2. That's how it would go. To show off. And this is why there was a juggler in this thumbnail. When you show off, it means you're good at something and you do it and you want other people to see you doing it. When you show off, it means that, well, let's say I was really good at riding a unicycle. That's like a one-wheeled bicycle. Can't really call it a bicycle, can we? But a unicycle has one wheel. And if I brought a unicycle to a family reunion and I rode it around all day, people might think I was just trying to show off. I was trying to show how good I was at something. And it has a little element of like, people don't always like it when you show off. It's like you're good at something, but you do it extra so people look at you. Here's a good example. If I was a really good football player, or soccer player as we call it here, if I did like 5 spins on the field with the ball before I shot the ball, people might think, oh, he's just trying to show off. He's trying to show everyone how good he is at controlling the soccer ball. Hey, let's look at some questions as we get moving along. I do want to check something here as well. In the chat, it says, so it says, he had to not pay for the ticket. He gave his autograph as a payment. Well, I don't know. And then Freddie Will says, no, the cops were nice with Bob, weren't they? I don't know. Nope, I got a ticket. I'm not going to say how much it was for. I was quite disappointed. But yes, I got a speeding ticket last week. But here's the bonus. Bob gets a speeding ticket. Bob has an idea to do an English lesson on phrasal verbs, and so you benefit. So there you go. There's always there's always a silver lining. That's it. Let's see here. From Elisa, English, Alice. Good morning, Bob. I'd like to know what this phrase, I wanted him to be part of things, means, and why there's no article a part in it. I'm always thankful. So you can have an article. You could say, oh, I wanted him to be a part of things, or I wanted him to be part of things. Both are fine. It simply means you want the person to be involved. If I was planning a party for my mom, I would want my sister to be part of the planning. I would want her to be part of things as we plan the party. So it means I want to meet with her and talk with her, and she'll do certain things and I'll do certain things. So when someone is part of something, it means they're one of the group. If your friends got in trouble last week and you weren't there, and someone said, oh, you and your friends did something bad, you could say, hey, I wasn't part of that. Okay, meaning you weren't there. So you can use it that way as well. Hung says, Brent also taught me a lot of phrasal verbs in his lessons. Thanks. Do you think phrase to roll up on someone has the same meaning as bump into someone? Can I use both? To roll up on someone, for me, is actually more involved if you're driving a vehicle. And I'm sure it has other meanings as well. But if I was standing on the sidewalk and a car pulled up in front of me, I would say that the car is rolling up to me, okay? If I'm driving, I could roll up to Jen as she's standing by the barn. If I'm leaving for work, I could roll up to Jen and say, hey, I'm leaving for work. See you later. Have a good day. So that's how I would use that phrase. Not to bump into someone. To me, it definitely, in my sense, there's a vehicle involved. I'm just doing a search for to sneak up to someone with the intention of causing harm. So it is a slang word, maybe more in the US, to mean to sneak up on someone to cause them harm. So not how I would use it for sure. Juliana, earlier in the lesson you said to show up. Is it the same thing to turn up? Thank you. Yes. So I could show up at my mom's house. I could turn up at my mom's house. You could go to a party and wonder if Joe is going to show up, or, hey, is Joe going to turn up tonight? We'll see. So it means to arrive or appear somewhere, for sure. Let's see. Oh, Dave popped in. It's been a while though. I should stop by and say hi. Hi, Dave. Good to see you. Hi, Vitor. Nice to see you, Dave. Sent Dave an email this week. A member, I don't know if that member is here. Well, that's too bad. A member sent Dave a thank you. So I forwarded a thank you to Dave from that member. And I think Dave was just popping in to say thanks for the thank you. But anyways, the next Tong says free. That's the next question. It's just a statement. Free. Yes, my lessons are free. You do not have to pay for them. I hope that you enjoy them. And then Judith says, "Hi Bob, every cloud has a silver lining and every rainbow has its shades. I guess it is right this way. What is the longest phrasal verb?" I don't know what the longest one is, but sometimes we add two words after the verb, like to come up with, to go out with. So you don't just have the verb, but then you have out and then you have with. I'm trying to think of another one. I think there's one where we have three prepositions afterwards. To come up with. Yeah, I'll think of it later, but those are the ones that, excuse me. Those are the ones that are the most challenging for people, I think. Let's see here. Sorry for the little coughing fit there. I think Lolly Lolly says, if I want to master phrasal verbs, I have to go the extra mile. Bob, is this sentence correct? If I want to master, we have to add a to, phrasal verbs, I have to go the extra mile. Yes, it's definitely correct. And again, even though we use kilometers in many English-speaking countries, we still use the word mile in this phrase. We don't say you need to go the extra kilometer. Nobody says that. So yes, you need to go the extra mile for sure. Igor says, hello, Bob. How are you doing? What does the phrasal verb sneak into mean? Thank you so much. When you sneak into somewhere, like let's say you go, I don't go to clubs, but let's say you want to go to a club at night, a dance club, and you go to the front door and they won't let you in. You could sneak into the club by going through the back door, maybe. Don't do this in real life. You'll get in trouble. But let me see another use of sneak into. It means to try and get into a building without being seen or heard. So sometimes in the movies, when someone wants to rob a museum, they'll sneak into the museum at night in order to do that. Let's see. Freddie de France. Hi, Bob. How have you been doing? Please, Bob, would you mind explaining the differences between idioms and phrasal verbs, if, however, there is any? Merci beaucoup. So an idiom is more of a phrase we use that the collection of words has a meaning, whereas a phrasal verb is definitely like a verb followed by a couple other words, which takes on a new meaning. So I'm going to get the exact, let's see here, difference between, like an idiom doesn't need to be a verb. An idiom can just be a phrase. Let's see. Phrasal verbs are things like hold on, zoom in, sit up. Idioms are groups of words in a specific order that form an expression that is different than the usual meaning. So they are somewhat similar, except that phrasal verbs are used as the verb in the sentence. So, but yeah, they're still both like a collection of words where if you looked up each meaning, you get one definition, but together the idiom or phrasal verb means something else when you put those words together. Let's see here. I'm going to have a sip of water and we're going to get back to the lesson. Pedro says, I think to put up with is a good example of, isn't it? Yeah, that's a long phrasal verb with two endings on it, right? Let's see here. Just checking something. Give me 1 sec. A technical problem. And then we'll get back to the lesson. Let's see here. Yeah, so phrasal verbs have a verb followed by either an adverb or a preposition. So you're going to see a lot of that. And then it acts as a completely new verb. Yeah, they're tricky. I get why people have trouble with them because they look like one thing, but they mean something else. That's what makes it a little challenging. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at to show off? Let's get moving here to stop by. So I think we've had a few different phrases that mean to go to someone's house. But to stop by can also mean that you go visit someone. I think this has more of a sense of a visit. When you show up, it might just be to, let me put it this way. The Amazon delivery person can show up and drop off a package. But when you say stop by, it implies that you're probably going to go in and sit down and visit with someone. So if I say, oh, I'm going to stop by and talk to my mom today, it doesn't mean I'm going to just be there for a few seconds. It can actually a little bit. But as I said, these verbs, these phrasal verbs can have various meanings. In this situation, I'm talking about the meaning of when there's two vehicles and one goes past the other and moves in front too soon, where they almost hit. Like the other day I was driving on the highway and a person passed me and then they cut me off. So I add me in there. They pulled in really quickly and I had to hit my brakes. They cut me off. It can mean something as simple as, when you buy a new shirt, it has a tag and you can cut off the tag, right? So you can decide, oh, I don't want the tag at the back. I'm going to cut it off. But in this situation, it means to see someone drive erratically and move in front of someone too soon and almost cause an accident. To get along. So the verb get, I did a video once where I used the verb get like a whole bunch of times in 3 minutes. The verb get, there's a lot of phrasal verbs with it. To get along means to like spending time with someone. These two people obviously get along. These two people like each other. You can see because they're smiling and laughing that they get along. As a parent, you hope that your kids find friends, people that they get along with, people who maybe share the same interests. It's nice for me because I noticed in the chat, a lot of you get along. A lot of you are happy to see each other and you are kind to each other in the chat. You get along very well. So to get along means to enjoy being with the person or people you are talking about. To give up. When you give up, it means you quit. A lot of people in January decide to give up smoking. A lot of people in January decide to get a gym membership and go work out, but then after a few weeks, they give up and they stop going. So to give up means to stop doing something. It can either mean to intentionally stop doing something or to eventually just sort of not go anymore. So what's another example? I was trying to learn to cook, but I decided to give up because I wasn't learning very much. It's very important when you're learning English to not give up. Stay motivated, do your best, learn as much as you possibly can. Because if you give up, I don't know, like you've spent so much time already learning it. Why quit now? Why give up now? Keep at it, do the best you can. To catch up. So this is one of the most common phrasal verbs. If I look at lists of common phrasal verbs, this is almost always number one. If you are walking with a group of people and those people walk a little faster than you and you kind of slow down and look at some stuff and then you look ahead and you see they are 10 meters ahead of you, you need to run to catch up. If you're in a class and everyone is working on questions, and you're on question 1 and everyone else is already answering question 4, you need to catch up. So it simply means that you're not as far as someone else, either in space or on a project, okay? So again, if you're running a race and you want to finish first and there's 5 people ahead of you, you need to catch up and then you need to pass them. If you are in a class learning something and everyone else is on page 7 and you're still reading on page 3, you need to read faster to catch up to them. So basically you want to do the thing faster so you can be in the same place as everyone else. To let down. So this is an interesting one because it's not clear at all what this means. But when you let someone down, it means you make them sad. Let's say I needed to pick Jen up from market. She didn't have a vehicle and I forgot. I would let her down. Okay, so I didn't do something I was supposed to do and that made her sad. I'm trying to think of another example. Let's say it's your birthday and you're expecting a birthday present and everyone forgets your birthday, you would then be annoyed because they let you down. You were expecting them to behave in a certain way. You were hoping they would give you gifts. And not only did they forget the gifts, they forgot your birthday entirely. So you would feel let down. You would feel like the people let you down. So they made you feel sad. To break down. So this is a common one with vehicles. When you drive a vehicle, eventually it's going to break down. It simply means it's going to stop working. The reason why it stops working might not be very clear, but if your car breaks down, it's not very fun at all. I have a card in my wallet. So if I'm driving and my car decides to break down, I can call a number and a tow truck will come. I pay a little bit of money every month just in case. At school, right now we have to give exams in 2 weeks. So we have to photocopy the exams. So we're hoping that the photocopier doesn't break down. If it breaks down, we're in trouble because we can't photocopy. So when you say that you hope that something won't break down, it means you hope that it doesn't break and stop fixing. You can just use the word break as well, though. My car broke down. I don't know why we add the word down, but it does sound just a little bit better when I use down when I say it. To come up with. So I'm not sure what you guys do for work or if you're in school, but you might have to think of new ideas. You might need to come up with ideas. I mentioned this in my Wednesdays with Bob video this week, I think. When I go for a walk, it's easy for me to come up with ideas. So when you come up with an idea, it means you think of something. Your boss might say, the photocopier is broken. You'll have to think of a way to get your work photocopied. And you might sit and think, oh, I need to come up with a solution. Oh, I'll go to the local print shop. That's the solution. So you came up with an idea, past tense. For me, the biggest thing is I have to come up with ideas for English lessons all the time. So it's almost always used with the word idea. You need to come up with an idea. You can see this guy has thought of something. He's excited. He was able to come up with an idea. To dress up. Oh, who's this guy? So there's two meanings to this one. If a child wants to be a tiger, they can put on an outfit so they look like a tiger. And we would say that, oh, what are the kids doing today? Oh, they're going to dress up like different animals. But it also means to wear nice clothes. So as an adult, sometimes I need to dress up. I need to wear a suit. I need to wear a tie. Sometimes I go to certain events where I need to dress up. When I go to school, normally I wear this. This is one of my teaching outfits. I don't wear a tie. But when I go to graduation at the end of the year, I need to dress up. I need to wear nicer clothes. So this is one of my suits. I think I have two. I do not wear them very often. I don't actually like to dress up. I don't like having a tie around my neck. It feels funny, like having my top button done up and then wearing a tie. I do not enjoy it at all. I like to have a little bit of freedom. But I will dress up when the situation requires it. And yes, there are a lot of bicycles in the photo. 5 kids means 5 bikes. I think we have 7 bikes total. So to dress up. To get away. So this is different than to get away with. Okay. So to get away in English often means to go on a vacation. At work, someone might say, oh, I just want to get away for a few days. Or my wife and I are going to get away this weekend. We're going to Florida. That'd be a long drive for the weekend, by the way. But to get away, we often use when we're talking about going somewhere on vacation. To get away with means to do something and not get caught. So sometimes students at school cheat and they want to get away with it. So they don't want the teacher to catch them. They might use ChatGPT to write their paper or to do their homework. And then they hope that they get away with it. They hope that the teacher doesn't catch them. this guy robbed somewhere, maybe a bank, and he's hoping to get away with it. You can use to get away as well, like the thieves got away. But when you use with, it means it specifies what they got away with. So they got away with it, or they got away with cheating on their homework. So to get away, to go on a vacation, and some other meanings. And to get away with, to do something you shouldn't have, and to not get caught. To look up. So yes, this can just mean this. Like if you hear a sound, you can look up. Okay, so if I'm walking outside and I hear an airplane, I might look up so I can see the plane in the sky. But it also can mean to do some research. You can go to the library and look something up in an encyclopedia. If you don't know an English word, maybe you have a dictionary app on your phone and you can look up the word. You can look up the word to see what it means. Sorry, I just got an email here. Okay, cool. Before I go on a trip, I like to look up how to get there using Google Maps. So whenever you don't know something and you use a book or the internet or your phone or a dictionary to figure it out, you would use the verb to look up. So often before I go on a trip, I will look up how to get there. And sometimes during a live stream, someone will mention something about their country. And then after the live stream, I will look up the Wikipedia page so that I know more about what they were talking about. Okay, let's see. Let me get to members only chat. Let me turn that on. By the way, if you're new here, there is members only chat in the middle of every lesson, every live lesson. And if you are a member, you can ask questions directly in the chat right now for the next 10 minutes. I will also keep answering questions from the forum as we go along there. If you're one of the 389 people watching, well, popular topic, don't forget to click the subscribe button, and I will, well, I won't, but YouTube will let you know when I put out a new English lesson. By the way, if you don't know how this works, I'm Bob the Canadian. I create English lessons here on YouTube. Every Tuesday, there's a small lesson for you to watch. And every Friday, I have a live lesson like the one you are watching right now. And I do this quite regularly. I occasionally take breaks, but I'm fairly consistent in putting out English lessons for you. Let's see here. In the chat, a lot of people are saying happy birthday. Whose birthday is it? Let's see. Dress up to wear a costume to disguise. By the way, tomorrow is my birthday, says Bellis. And Key Park says happy birthday as well as Vitor. Very cool. Okay. Fatima. Hi, Teacher Bob. Is the use of idioms not outdated now? When I watch real life discussions, I see that phrasal verbs are used, but idioms aren't. It really depends. Like some older idioms aren't used as much. When I teach lessons on idioms, I try to choose idioms that are very common still. Like if I say hold your horses, or if I say, like some of them are just very old. It's worthwhile knowing them because you will still see them. But there are newer idioms. I'm trying to think of some newer idioms. Newer common idioms. Cost an arm and a leg. I hear that. Yes, definitely. To break the ice, definitely. Hit the nail on the head. Yes. So to beef up. Yeah, I would say, actually to beef up is a phrasal verb. But anyways, I would say idioms are still important. And maybe I should do a few lessons throughout this year on common idioms that are still used. But yeah, definitely make sure you learn your phrasal verbs for sure. Okay, from Kaleem, and then I'll get to the chat. To be thrilled to bits means, so if, let's see, if Jen said we won the lottery, I would be thrilled to bits. It just means I'm really, really excited. If at work my boss said, we're giving you a bonus, we're going to give you extra money this month, I would be thrilled to bits, which simply means that I am very, very excited. So if, let's say, you have a child who's married, so let's say your daughter is married and she's in her 20s and she says, we're expecting a baby and you're going to be grandparents, you would be thrilled to bits if you heard that. So it just means to be very, very excited. Okay, from the chat. Here we go. I love this part of the lesson, by the way. Teo says, this is the first time to join in the live lesson. Quite interesting. Well, good to have you. That's from Teo Zhu. Lolly says, show off equals positive or negative meaning. So it depends. That's the problem. Sometimes we'll call a person a show off. Like we'll use it as a noun. We'll say, he's such a show off. And then it's very negative. If a basketball player likes to show off, it can be kind of fun. But I would say it's sometimes positive, mostly negative. But it's kind of a bit of both, Lolly. Vitor says, hello, Bob. I just wanted to drop a quick note to say that no, that is not here today, but he sent you a big hug. He's going to watch this lesson later. He's going to catch up later. Thanks, Bob. Great use of the phrasal verb catch up. And thanks for letting me know. No, that is very much a regular here. I was kind of wondering where he was. Amran says, hello, the greatest Bob. It's a great topic. Keep it up. My question is, to let someone down means to disappoint someone. Yes, definitely. It's to make them sad and to disappoint them. So if I didn't do a lesson today, then some of you would be like, oh, Bob let us down, right? You're disappointed that there's no lesson. Freddie Wolf, if unfortunately I missed Bob's lesson, I would catch them up ASAP. Yes, good use of the verb catch up. Wanda, hi, Teacher Bob. Could you please tell me the meaning of let go of? Thanks. Have a nice weekend. If I'm holding on to something, someone could say, let go of it. So let's say I was holding a backpack by one strap and Jen was holding the other and we were fighting over it. She could say, let go of the backpack. You could just say let go, but it means to do that. So if you're holding something and you let go of it, it means to release it. Key Park says, you throw a birthday party tomorrow. Your friends will dress up to show up. That's to Bellis, whose birthday it is tomorrow. And yes, maybe your friends will show up. Maybe they'll turn up and they'll be all dressed up. Nice use of the phrasal verbs, Key Park. John Wedge. Hi, Bob. Good to see you. No question today. I went out yesterday with a friend here in Brazil. She is married to a Canadian named Dale, and they live in Ontario, just like you. Well, I don't know any Dales, but there are like 10 million people in my province. But who knows? Maybe I know Dale. Wait, I do know a Dale. Well, I'm sure there's many of them. Lolly says, merci pour ta réponse. Thanks for your answer, Bob. John Wedge, it was amazing to talk a lot in English and see that I'm not so bad at conversation. Oh, I'm glad you had an opportunity to speak English with people. That's very cool, John. Very nice. You should invite more Canadians to Brazil for that. Amran has a super chat. Thanks, Bob, for the great work. You're really helpful. You are no problem, Amran. Thank you very much for that super chat. Freddie Wolf, look up. Can this be a phrasal verb like to cheat in order to copy something from other students? Not really. Like, let me see. I'm trying to think of, because you can look over someone's shoulder and that would be to cheat. Like it has different meanings than that. But if I see a student looking over another student's shoulder during a test, then they're cheating. You could look at someone. Yeah, but look up, no. But I think if you're writing a test and you look up the answers on your phone, that's definitely cheating for sure. Hafiez, I think if it was a younger person like a toddler showing off, I'd think it'd be cute and not annoying. So that's positive, I think. Yeah, and I think that's a great response, Hafiez, to Lolly's question. It's definitely very situational. Like if I have a 4-year-old niece who's really good at something and they like to show off, then it's cute, right? It's fun to see kids who are good at something. John Wedge says, don't forget, give a thumbs up, folks. Thanks for that, John. And Freddie Wolf, Bob, to dress up, to wear a costume, or to disguise, are they quite similar? Yes. So make sure you're using the word costume correctly, though, because in French and English, it's slightly different. So in English, when I wear a suit, I would say that I'm wearing a suit because I have to dress up. If I was to go to a Halloween party dressed as a celebrity, then I would say, oh, I'm going to dress up as Matt Damon from The Martian. I'm going to dress up as an astronaut. So, but make sure you look up, I'm sure you're aware of this, the difference between, a costume in English and un costume en français. C'est différent. Let me see here, because I think Yeah, because costume in French means suit, but that's not what it means in English. Teo, Bob, what about run out of? Yes. If I drink my water too quickly, you can see it's half full. If I drink it too quickly, I'm going to run out of water. I'm not going to do any actual running. If the cup is empty, I could say, oh, I ran out of water in the past tense. Hi, Teacher Bob. Thank you for your dedication. No problem. Lolly says, thanks for the explanation, Hafiz. Yeah, that was a great addition, Hafiz. Thanks for that. That was awesome. I'll do members only questions for a bit still. I'm going to pull a few questions up from the form. Winter Wright. Hi, Bob. For me, learning phrasal verbs is difficult. Are idioms formal English while phrasal verbs are informal? No, they're all formal and informal. So at my work, you will hear people speaking informally using idioms and phrasal verbs. You will see people sending formal memos or emails using idioms or phrasal verbs. So they kind of fit into both categories. Some idioms might be more informal than others, but definitely they are just important to learn because they're used all the time. Hanitra, hello, Bob. To get along has the same meaning as to get on, for example. It's easy to get on with open-minded person. Yes, except to get on is a little more British. In Canada, we don't use get on very often. Like, oh, they get on well. I understand what that means. But in Canada, I would say they get along really well. In Britain, they might say, oh, they're best mates. They get on really well. I'm not an expert on British English, though. So if I got that wrong, someone let me know. Let's see here. Ralph, so costume means 100% not dress in any way. So costume means, the best way to describe it is this. If you go to a play, the actors will have costumes on. If I go to a Halloween party, I might wear a costume. I might try to be an astronaut or some other character. Amran says, what is the meaning of freaking out? I hear it a lot. So it has a couple different meanings. One is, if you're really scared, you might freak out. Okay. So if I jumped out from behind a tree at night and said, boo, you might freak out. You might respond by going, ah, like your hands might go up and you might freak out and then run away. But it can also mean to be really, really excited about news. If Jen said to me, we won the lottery, we won $1 million, I might freak out. And that would be, instead of going, ah, and being scared, I'd be like, yeah, and be super excited. So it means to respond emotionally to new news. That's what I would say, or to something that is happening. Okay, let me turn members only chat off. Thank you again for being members. For those of you that don't know what membership is, as a member, you get a lesson plan for the week every Monday. You get an extra video on Wednesdays called Wednesdays with Bob. You get to have your name in green and participate in members only chat every live stream. And if you're interested, there is a join button below. Have a look at that and it will explain it a bit more for you. But I think we should get back to the lesson. Let me just see here. Yep, I think I covered all the questions. Let's finish off the lesson and then I will finish answering the questions as well. To look up to. So we just did to look up, which is to do some research. To look up to means to admire someone. If your mom or dad is a very nice person, you might look up to them. It means you respect them. It means maybe you want to be like them. When I was younger, I really looked up to my dad. He was a very smart person who ran this dairy farm. So I admired him. I respected him. Maybe at school, there's a certain teacher and you look up to that teacher. You think, oh, I want to be like that person someday. I also had a teacher when I was in high school and I looked up to him. He was a very smart man. He was the French teacher and he did a really good job and he was really friendly. And so I liked him as a person. And so I looked up to him. So when you look up to someone, it means you respect them. It means you like them, and it might even mean that you want to be like them when you grow up. It usually has an age element, okay? It doesn't have to. You can look up to someone who's the same age as you, but often it's usually like children or teenagers or young people, they look up to someone who's older than them to take after. So when you take after someone, though, it means you have a similar look or similar behaviors. So this boy and his dad, the boy takes after his dad. They kind of look like they have the same sense of humor. Maybe you have a nephew who looks exactly like your brother. You could say, wow, he really takes after you. It means that he really looks like you. Maybe you have a niece who behaves the same way as your mom, like her grandmother. You could say, wow, you really take after grandma. Like it means you really act like her, or maybe you even really look like her. So it means to be similar to someone in the same family. To call off. So sometimes you need to cancel something. Maybe you have a party next Friday and suddenly the person you're having the party for is sick. You might have to call off the party. You might have to cancel the party. During the pandemic, a lot of things got called off. Using the past tense there, a lot of things got canceled. If you had any event to go to that day, it was always important to check to make sure that someone didn't need to call off the event. I meet once a week with a friend in France. On se parle ensemble. We speak together, and sometimes we have to call off our meeting because our schedules just don't align properly. So when you call something off, it means that you cancel it. It means that you don't do it. To eat out, to eat in. Now, this is a little tricky. When you eat out, it always means that you're eating at a restaurant, not at home. Okay? So when you eat out, it means you're going to go to a restaurant. Hey, do you want to make supper at home tonight, or do you want to eat out? Oh, I want to eat out. Let's go to a pizza place. So to eat out means to eat in a restaurant. Or you might say, you know what, let's just stay home and eat in tonight. But this one has another meaning as well. When you go to a restaurant and you order food, they might say, do you want to eat in or is it to go? So hopefully I'm not confusing you here. This, to eat out, means to eat in a restaurant. Okay, we're going to go eat out tonight. To eat in can mean to eat at home. Let's save money. Let's eat in tonight. Or when you go to a restaurant, you have the option to get takeout, to take the food with you, or you might have the option to eat in, which means you're going to sit in the restaurant and eat. So sorry if I confused you. Maybe you'll need to listen to this section again sometime. Because you can say in English, we're going to go to a restaurant. We're going to eat out tonight. And someone might say, oh, are you going to get takeout or are you going to eat in? And then you would say, well, we're going to eat in, which means you're staying. I just confused all of you. Sorry. Let's go back to the simple. To eat out means to eat at a restaurant. To eat in usually means you're going to eat at home. To hang out. This is another, I think, second most common verb. To hang out means to just be with other people. Teenagers will often go to each other's houses to hang out. Maybe they play video games, maybe they sit around and talk, maybe they do homework, but they're just spending time together. As someone my age, in my early 50s, I don't hang out with my friends very often. We're all dads. We're very busy people. We don't have a lot of time to hang out. We usually go and see a movie once a year, but we haven't done that for a couple years. We should probably do that again sometime. Anyways, when you hang out, it means you spend time with your friends. You're in the same place as your friends. To put off means to do something later. Sometimes I usually make my English lessons on a Saturday or a Monday, but sometimes I put off making the English lesson to Monday night, and then I have to make the lesson and edit it. So to put something off means to delay. Let's say you have a sore tooth and you need to go to the dentist, but you don't like going. You might put off going to the dentist. So instead of going today, you might say, oh, I'll go next week or the week after. So it means to, do something in the future instead of doing it when you should do it. I'm trying to think of another example. The dentist is a good one because I know once I had a sore tooth and I was supposed to go to the dentist and I actually called and rescheduled. I put off going by a couple of days. So yes, and here's the phrase, never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. So if there's something you can do today, just do it today. Don't put it off to tomorrow. To bring up. So this has a lot of different meanings, but the meaning I'm going to talk about is to think of an idea and mention it. So if you're in a meeting and someone says, we should serve coffee tomorrow, you might bring up the fact that you don't have any cups, or you might bring up the fact that it's going to cost a lot of money to buy coffee for everyone. So it's to mention something, usually in a conversation or meeting. So if I'm in a conversation with Jen and she says, I'm going to take the red van tomorrow on a long drive, I might bring up the fact that it needs gas. I might say, oh, the red van needs gas. I might bring up that idea in the conversation. By the way, it does have other meanings, but I'm not going to go over them right now. So to bring up something is to mention it to someone. So hey, that's the end of the formal part of the lesson. I'm going to just finish off by answering some questions here. Let me do that for a sec. Not sure if things were things working there. I think they were. Okay. Let's see. Questions on the screen. Let me get the right button clicked and let me get the next question. Let's see. I got 5 questions and then we're done. Unsel says, hi, Teacher Bob. Do fun phrases like easy peasy and oopsie daisy have a special name? And can you give examples of the expressions apart from and other than? Thanks. So, no, I don't think so. Oopsie daisy. Whoops. Whoopsies. Yeah, I don't know. They're just kind of little things we say, right? And expressions apart from and other than. I can give you example sentences. I'm going to use apart from at the beginning. Like, apart from yesterday, I went walking every day last week. So basically I'm saying I didn't walk yesterday. And then other than yesterday, I walked every day. Yeah, they're similar, aren't they? I'm going to have to think about that one a bit more, Unsel. Apart from and other than. So was anyone there other than your brother? That means only your brother was there. Was anyone there apart from your brother? Yeah, I use them the same way. I'm trying to think of a way that they can be different. But there's a couple examples for you. Faizi, hello Bob, I hope you're doing well. I am. I have a question about the idiom that I heard a lot, but I don't know the meaning of. Beg, steal, or borrow. Thanks in advance. Yeah, when you need something and you don't have the money for it, sometimes we'll say, well, you're just going to need to beg, borrow, or steal. I switch the borrow, by the way, when I say it. It's not a super common phrase, but because we don't actually want people to steal. But to beg means to ask other people, right? To borrow means to ask to use something so you can give it back. And to steal means to just take it. So yes, I have heard that. As a teacher, I don't use it very often though. RM, does North American English use the form if it were as if it were? Like if it were raining, I would need an umbrella. I'm trying to think as if it were like I wore a winter coat as if it were winter, even though it was July. So we do use those formations and quite regularly. So definitely. So the first one is easy for me to think of an example. Like if it were summer, I wouldn't be wearing a sweater. And then as if it were, he laughed during the serious movie as if it were a comedy. So kind of a contrasting opinion there. From Vera, hi Bob. Thank you for doing live translation. Could you tell me please what's the difference between one word verb end and the phrasal verb end up? So this live stream is going to end. In about 5 minutes, this live stream will end. When you watch a movie, eventually the movie will end. But if the road's slippery and I drive too fast, I might end up in the ditch. if you don't study for your English exam, you might end up having a hard time. So I'm having trouble distinguishing, like they're definitely different in how we use them, and I'm trying to figure out why. So the best I can do is give you examples. So yeah, end is just very terminal, right? Like eventually the movie will end. Eventually the song will end. When you play a song, the song will end. But end up has like kind of two actions, right? Something's going to end, but something else is going to happen. So if you don't study, you'll end up failing. If you drive too fast, you'll end up getting a speeding ticket. So those are the examples I can give you. Vera, hopefully that works. This is from MD. Hi, Bob. I look up to Bob the Canadian. Well, thank you for the compliment. I do my best, and I appreciate it that people do look up to me, but I also think that all of you are awesome. And I think I look up to a lot of you as well with the dedication you have to learning English. You do an awesome job. Hey, if you're one of the 405 people watching, don't forget to click that red subscribe button. This lesson will come out in a shorter format in a couple days. Do rewatch it, or at least listen to it. I often say listen to it while you go for a walk, or while you make supper, or while you're sitting on the subway, whatever. Listen to it one more time. Repetition is a bit boring, but it's very helpful. The second thing is, this is part 1. I will be doing part 2 and 3, maybe part 4 over the next few weeks. So hopefully you don't get too bored of phrasal verbs. I like teaching them, and it's kind of fun to show you a picture so that you get a sense of what the meaning is. And if you haven't given me a thumbs up, please give me a thumbs up, and enjoy your weekend. I'm going to head off to work now. There's a phrasal verb for you. I'm going to head off to work because I want to, I was going to try and use another phrasal verb, but I can't think of one. By the way, I'm going to head off to work. I'm going to head out to work. They mean the same thing. Anyways, maybe I'll add that as the first one in the next lesson. I'm going to say bye to everyone in the chat. Bye to Vitor, Victoria, Hafiez, Gloria, John Wedge, Vitor, Charles, Bellis, Pedro, John Wedge again, RM, Lolly, Freddie Wolf, Arena, Unsel, Jezernixi. Have a great weekend, everyone. To Ulia, Ralph, Orkin, learning Japanese, says, hi, Bob. Do you know shadowing, to follow the speaker after he or she repeats? Yes, it's a great technique. By the way, if you want to shadow someone, watch a video for 10 seconds or 30 seconds, hit pause, and then say what the person just said. Do that for the whole video. Great practice. Freddie Wolf, to wrap up the lesson. That's right. I'm going to wrap up this lesson, the phrasal verb that you often use to finish them. Maybe I'll end next week's lesson with to wrap up. John says, thanks for the class. No problem. Bye to Patana, Key Park, Alexander, Gloria, Kiki, Septuatar, Ricardo, Nikolai, Hoatran, Benito. Bye to everybody. Have a good day, everybody. I'm going to go for a little walk, and then I'm going to go to work, and hopefully the day goes smoothly. It's a pretty straightforward day for me. Bye.